In our next DS game, Bomberman Land Touch 1, we have the introduction of the Bomberman Battle Pack proper. For its part, Land Touch is part of the Land series, so we play as Bomberman exploring a theme park that mainly consists of minigames. We can even play these minigames with other people. And we run into a similar problem here that the minigames support download play but not multi-cart play. So even if your friend has a cartridge, you have to tell them to shut down the game, go to the console's home menu, and select download play to download from you. All fine and good, and the battle pack is found here in the main menu. Upon selecting, it reminds us to use buttons for it. Yeah, Land Touch is played exclusively with the touch pen, and the battle pack is played exclusively with buttons. Even though the battle mode of Bomberman DS could be navigated with both. A little weird, why didn't they just let us use the touch pen in the battle pack if we felt like it? Hold up, it says here it's compatible with other games that have this icon. But if we're outside of Japan, then this is the only game with the icon, so what's this about? Well, in Japan, we later got Bomberman Story DS, which has the same battle pack on it. Meanwhile, the European release of Story DS has something else on it. Bomberman Story DS is an adventure RPG that is really tedious to play through and is arguably the worst Bomberman game, at least I think so. It consists of just the campaign. There is no internal multiplayer mode of its own, just the battle pack. The battle pack is the second option in this menu past the title screen. JP Story DS is nice enough to tell us to use buttons here, even though we probably already were. Must have been a leftover from this program also being on Land Touch 1. Meanwhile, the European version of Story DS starts up Battle Pack 2, which we will get to soon enough. The Japanese manuals of Land Touch 1 and Story DS both have an explanation of the battle pack, and fun fact, Land Touch 1 had a re-release 2 years later under the Hudson the Best label. The data on the cartridge is the same, still Battle Pack 1, but the manual and back of the box go out of their way to explain that it is incompatible with Battle Pack 2, which was out at the time of this re-release. The formatting is different between what Story DS and the Land Touch 1 re-release have, and the North American and European translations of it in Land Touch 1 use the same text across regions, though they are also formatted differently. But okay, let's verify our cross-compatibility. The back of Land Touch 1's box mentions there is both download play and multi-cart play here. Too bad the multi-cart doesn't apply to the minigames. All games that have this icon are the Japanese, North American, European, and Korean, yes, Korean versions of Land Touch 1, and the Japanese version of Story DS. We can run all 5 of them, and if one of them is hosting, the others can find them and join. All 5 games have the exact same program included, just in different languages and on different cartridges. Alright, so what do we got? Well, DS's gimmick of having your favorite color determine the background color is gone. Now we always have this background. And we have a main menu. Instead of immediately hosting and then continuing without someone connecting to play alone, we can simply choose single player to play alone. In multiplayer, we have the choice of recruiting, which is hosting a game, seeing if someone else is hosting, and DS download play. Huh? I thought it supported both now. Well, it does support both, but not at the same time. So, say you have 2 friends. You have a game, your first friend has a game, your second friend does not have a game and uses download play. When you choose recruiting to host, game friend can find you and connect, download play friend cannot. If you choose download play friend will be able to find you in their console's download play menu, but game friend will not be able to find you when looking to see who's hosting. The only way for all 3 of you to play together is for you to tell game friend to shut down their game, go to their home menu, and go to download play. Even if you and 6 other friends have cartridges, if the 8th player doesn't have one, you have to choose DS download play and everyone else has to download from you. Might have something to do with this battle pack tracking your wins and losses, but more on that later. The host can still add AIs in the character screen, easy, normal, hard, but the team setup has changed a bit. Instead of there being 8 teams, there are only 4 on the top screen here, and a space for players who are playing individually. With a maximum of 8 players, you don't need more than 4 teams, if leaving people out makes them play individually on their own team. So it's just a way of making things more streamlined, I guess. I'll also note here that we are no longer using Oval Bomberman. From now on, it's just classic vertical eye Bomberman. Also, human participants don't choose their teams anymore. Only the host can change people's teams. And the color of the teams is determined by the lowest player number among the team members. So if white is in a team, the whole team will be white. If black is in a team, everyone will be black, unless white is also added to the team, and so on. There's a new menu music. We find ourselves in a much similar stage select screen, where we scroll through stages. Upon selecting one, we notice the rule options have changed a bit. We can now turn each option up and down, so if we want to set the time down, we no longer have to keep pressing the button to turn it up until it overflows to a smaller time. Thank you very much for this. A few things have been removed. Slots is gone. Sorry, slot machine. You were fun, but I guess they deemed you unnecessary. The skull option is also gone. Put a pin in that one, we'll get to that. We do have a few additions. There is now a battle method option where we can choose between trophies and score. Trophies is our regular mode where if you win a set, you get a trophy, and if you get as many trophies as you determined in the sets option here, you win the match. The other battle method is score. In score mode, everyone gets points at the end of a set. I have not fully explored what actions or events determine how many points you get, but generally if you win the set, you get more points. Points carry over between sets, so it's not just about winning sets, but rather about getting the most points over the course of multiple sets. The one with the most points at the end of the match wins, and you play exactly as many sets as you determined in the set option. So this is a good option if you don't want the match to last forever from constantly getting draws. Put sets at 3 and you will play exactly 3 sets and then somebody wins. Tiebreak has been renamed Sudden Death. It also starts a bit later, at 30 seconds left in the clock instead of 40. With less time, the blocks fall at a faster rate. Also, the music gets faster when Hurry Up starts. Position is here, unchanged. Revenge is back, and we no longer use the touch pen to throw bombs. We now move across the bottom of the screen and use the D-pad to move a reticle to throw bombs into the stage. Also, our microphone gimmick is gone. No more skull bombs from the revenge carts. Power down determines whether or not bomb downs, fire downs, and sandals appear in the stage. This option is new compared to DS, but more of a consolation prize. We'll get to it. Finally, handicap is here in the rule settings instead of in the stage select, and appears as an extra screen before the confirmation screen if we turn it on. Here in the handicap screen, we can still give each player up to 6 power-ups, but where'd all the power-ups go? We have bomb, fire, speed, and kick. That's it, nothing else. Power downs do still appear in the stages, if we turn them on, but we can't start players off with them anymore. Not that there was much of a reason to outside of the full power stage or speedy. But yeah, these 4 power-ups and the optional power downs are the only panels that can appear in the stage. What happened? No more full fire, remote bomb, penetration bomb, power bomb, landmine, jelly bomb, throw, punch, line bomb, or shield. That's 10 power-ups. Combine that with the fact that there are no skulls, no skull bomb power-ups, and the question mark panels are also gone. We have gotten rid of 13 of the 20 panels that can appear, leaving us with just 7. There might be a reason for this, more on that later. On a side note, 2 bombs kicked together no longer turn into a skull bomb. They just fuse into one regular bomb. Bomberman no longer shouts out every power-up he picks up. Instead, we have a range of sound effects that play when we pick something up. I'll mention here, if you're playing single player, and then if you die and either revenge is off, or you reach hurry up, which turns revenge off, the game has the courtesy of speeding up the AI battle that ensues, so you don't have to wait around as long. Relevant for multiplayer, we can actually emote to the other players. Press R to cheer and L to boo. The sound will be sent to everyone in the session. I am only recording the audio of the top left console here. Alrighty, what stages do we have? Normal has not changed very much. The tunnels connecting the screens do look ever so slightly different. One noteworthy change is that we have a different music track for these first few stages. Mini is back, and now takes place on the bottom screen instead of the top screen. Again, the block dropping speed at Hurry Up is adjusted to match the smaller stage, and for just 30 seconds instead of 40. Unipass is no longer yellow, but green just like the normal stages. Same goes for Tri-Pass. Tunnels is yellow again, though mainly because we have a desert cactus theming now. Kick, being no longer blue, maintains the desert theming and has a different layout for the arrows. It also no longer starts everyone out with a kick. Either handicap them or go looking for one in the stage. Conveyor belts has not changed much, outside of being green again, having a more technology-looking middle section and introducing a new music track. Spikes is back, unchanged with the lantern setting. Full power is now also green. It starts us off at max power-ups for what this battle pack allows, and now has soft blocks for some reason. It also brings back our Generation Battle Mode melody in a new rendition here. Crown Battle is back, and the crown is no longer a panel. It looks more like, well, a crown. Some of the textures have been slightly changed, and we have our special Crown Battle music. Full Power Crown and Merry-Go Crown are fairly unchanged. Trapdoors is no longer blue, but instead has a Greek ruins aesthetic, I think. And popcorn soft blocks, using a music track we had earlier for the more gimmicky stages. Inferno is unchanged. Speedy is also unchanged and uses the generation music again. Lots of items hasn't changed aside from being green now, and we can clearly see just how many power-ups they removed. Bomb has returned, now with a new high seas ship with cannons aesthetic. Music is our gimmicky stage music again. Our 3 panel paint stages are back. Blocks, kick blocks, and zombie. Mostly unchanged. Kick blocks even has the exact same layout of arrows, though it doesn't start us off with a kick like it did in DS. Another new music track just for our block stages. Last but not least, random could end up as any stage. It randomly chooses a stage before letting us change the settings on the match instead of after, giving us a total of 20 stages, 21 if we're counting random. What? DS had 30 options. What happened to those other 9 stages? Well, Classic's main gimmick was that we only have 4 power-ups, exactly the 4 that appear in this pack if we turn off power downs, so making a separate Classic stage makes no sense now. There's no microphone gimmick for revenge carts, and in fact there is no microphone usage at all in this pack, so the 3 stages that used the microphone are gone. The shield power-up is gone, so the stage that starts you off with a shield is gone too. Without skulls, a stage themed around skulls makes no sense. Same goes for the question mark stage. The punch and throw that threw bombs in the air are gone, and so is the seesaw stage that flung bombs around. Barroom is gone too. Sorry, Barroom. Remove all those stages, mix around the order a bit because, I don't know, and there we go. Those are our stages in Pack 1. Overall, this is looking like a serious downgrade compared to DS. I mean, they ditched a bunch of stages and a whole bunch of power-ups. The bigger variety in music and stage aesthetics is cool, but there is one very significant addition I haven't mentioned yet, and it's right here in the main menu. Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Pack 1 can be played online, with some effort. I'm recording in 2022 and Nintendo servers are long down, but there is a fan server you can connect to if you put in the right primary and secondary DNS in your internet settings. Also, you need to make sure you've set up a Wi-Fi network that DS consoles are compatible with, which is easier to do when hotspotting from a phone if you don't want to mess around with your router. I'll try and put a video in the top right corner right now on how to get your DS connected to the internet. But assuming we got all that set up, after connecting once, we get a friend code so other people can add us as a friend. And the pack even tracks things like wins and losses against certain friends, which might be why it keeps multi-card play and download play separate. It tracks your wins and losses against players who have a cartridge. But okay, let's go in and see what options we have. Nice internet menu music. We can play with friends, and from what I can tell, everyone has to have each other added for this to work. Here, 2 consoles have added each other, but the third has added the first while nobody has added the third, and while these 2 can find each other, the third isn't connecting with the others. Might also be that my connection isn't working too well. Battling with rivals pairs you with people in your skill level based on wins and losses and stuff. This third option matches you with people in your region. The North American version says country, while the European version says continent, even though the European manual still says country for some reason. And we can choose to play with anyone worldwide. Realistically speaking, virtually nobody is playing this in 2022 when I'm recording this, so if you are trying this with a friend, don't bother with friend codes. Just both choose randos worldwide at the same time and you will end up together. Functionally, there is no difference which option we choose. Up to 4 human players can connect. If just 2 or 3 are in the lobby and nobody else shows up, then the session will start. Players 5 to 8 will always be AIs, and there'll be more AIs if only 2 or 3 human players showed up. And at least in my games, they were always set to easy. We can't set them ourselves. And now we find ourselves in a stage select lobby. Each player chooses a stage, and the stage is chosen by majority vote or randomly between the choices. There is no way to host to choose a stage and set the rules. You can only end up in a lobby like this. Available stages are, well, everything we have in Pack 1 except the crown and paint stages. Everything else is available here, including random, so 15 choices. If you choose random, the lobby will assign a random stage as your choice, and then one of the player's choices is selected. From what I've played on it, we always have score rules, not trophy. Always 3 minutes, unless it's mini-mini where it's 2 minutes. Sudden death on, position random, revenge super, power downs are on, and the handicap is off. You cannot change these options. We then have a mostly regular Bomberman match, save for the lag, though that could just be my connection. Perhaps connecting 2 or 3 consoles through a hotspotting phone isn't such a great idea after all, but it served its purpose. We can still cheer and boo to everyone else in the session. After a match, we can select stages again. The session ends when enough people leave, or get connection errors, and there's only 1 human player left. On the topic of disconnecting players, locally or through the internet, I think, if 1 person disconnects, they will remain in the match, and even when the match ends, they will still be there, forever taking up a spot and immediately dying at the start until the session ends. Alright, so why did they get rid of so many power-ups for this one? Well, the online might have to do with it, though we really don't know for certain. Going back a bit, there were plenty of Bomberman games that could be played online in some capacity or another, but as for a Bomberman game that can be played online worldwide on a streamlined service, you might think of Act Zero. Insert lol edgy reboot meme joke here, which ran and runs on Xbox Live worldwide. It has been theorized that Act Zero has so few power-ups compared to earlier games to make the netcode simpler. If players are throwing and punching bombs all over the place and this needs to be synced worldwide in 2006, maybe that was too difficult or too expensive to figure out, so they removed power-ups for that one. It's just a theory, but Battle Pack 1, releasing on LandTouch 1 just a few weeks before Act Zero, would be the first Bomberman game to run online worldwide on a streamlined service, Nintendo Wi-Fi Connect, at least if we're going by original Japan release dates. And it also has very few power-ups compared to its predecessor. No one can say for certain, so do share your thoughts and all that stuff. Finally, just for posterity, here I am hosting Battle Pack 1 and trying to connect with every other Battle Pack. It's not working. Different iterations are not cross-compatible.